go ahead and start off right off the bat. Who's going to win the Super Bowl, Alan?
49ers.
Why do you think the 49ers?
I think this year, I think they're hungry. And that their defense are awesome.
And, I mean, it's debatable that last year the 49ers would have made the Super Bowl if it wasn't for Purdy being injured as well. They basically played against the Eagles with no quarterback. So
now they have a quarterback. If Purdy injured, they move on to Sam Darnold.
You know what? I think the Ravens are going to win the Super Bowl. In fact, I think they're going to beat the 49ers in the Super Bowl. I think we're going to have a Super Bowl rematch. Ravens and 49ers. On Christmas, the 49ers, got destroyed by the Ravens. It wasn't even close. The 49ers just showed up and obliterated them. And I think even though the playoffs are different, they're too much. There's too much to offer, and the 49ers cannot handle the Ravens.
No, we have to wait and see what happens and whoever makes it to the Super Bowl.
That's very true. Also, the Ravens have defeated the Texans in the divisional playoffs 34-10. Wow. I thought it was going to be a close game. At halftime, it was 10-10. And then in the second half, the Ravens just showed up. They just came to play. They marched down the field 3 times, scoring 3 touchdowns. And then finishing off with that Justin Tucker
kick,
43-yard field goal.
Let's look at the status of Lamar Jackson. 100 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground. 100 and some yards with an ear.
Yeah, he had 152 yards with 2 touchdowns. And Stroud was 19 of 33 with 175 yards. No touchdowns. I mean, that's where the difference lies. And that's, where the difference always is in these games. Is the touchdowns. Now, the Suns are starting to show that they are worth it. But the Big Three is heating up, and they're not going to stop. And KD and Devin Booker are not going to take the media's bullshit and every fan who's going to talk. They don't have defense. They aren't good enough. They can't pass the ball. They're not going to make it far. This is a team that has won now 4 in a row, and they're on fire. What do you think?
I believe if this offense stays hot through this season, I believe there could be this standing between the 5th or the 6th after the end of the season. But it's just their defense a little struggling right to their last game against the Kings.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, what the hell happened?
Yeah,
and they expected it got lucky. They just came back and won that game by 2.
Yeah. They've won 4 in a row. They beat the Lakers 127-109. They beat the Blazers 127-116. And then they barely beat the Kings 119-117. And then last night they just wiped out the Pelicans 123-109. So they only won by 14, but it was like a 25-point game. It's just that the Pelicans bench came in and started scoring against the Suns bench in garbage time. So in 4 games, they've essentially scored 120 points, which is great. But the problem is that they've also allowed over 100 points in all 4 games. The Big Three is something spectacular that you cannot keep up with whenever they play this way. But they're also a team that will let up a lot of points because they're not defensive oriented.
Don't forget Are they looking at somebody for trading before the trade deadline starts?
Yeah, so there's a lot of talk that they'll trade Grayson Allen. But the Suns players, the Suns fans, they do not want to get rid of Grayson Allen. Neither do I.
No.
But they still have to acknowledge what they may get for him.
Or they could just trade Josh Kobe.
Yeah, but what would they get for a Kobe?
Whoever offered. Whoever offered. So, we could take Josh Kobe. Mm-hmm. All right, then what's your deal? What's your offer is? We could look into it. What your offer is, and we can go from there.
Yeah, and they look at the Suns' needs. A lot of people believe they need a true point guard, and Book and Beal and Durant playing point is not good enough. But I mean, how do you lead a team to a down 22 comeback against the Kings? Because in the game against the Kings, they were. I turned off the TV practically. I didn't even want to watch the rest of the game. And then I wake up in the morning and I'm like, what the,
Yeah.
And you look at, to come back from 22 points, the negative part is you have to be down by 22 points. So it's not very good for them that they were down by 22 points. But to be able to come back as strong as they did and to lead their team to that victory with, by the way, Booker did not score 100 points in that game. Booker passed the ball. Booker found the open man. Booker led the Suns, but he did not lead in scoring. And that is probably the best thing that came from that game. Is they won without Booker going off for 50, 60 points.
All I'm saying, those big three needs to stay healthy if they're expecting to be in the playoffs. Go far in the playoffs.
They've only played, probably 10 or 11 games together out of, 40 games.
So
they have a long ways to go.
I've been hearing a lot of rumors about Phoenix and the Warriors. Think about Steph Curry coming to the Phoenix. If they were expected to trade Bell and a couple of draft picks for Steph Curry.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, but if that ever happened, what do you think that offense could become like? I believe this offense, if they were planning on picking up Steph Curry, I believe that offense is being fired. Complete 100% fired.
I think that if somehow they were to acquire Steph Curry, now they would probably have to give up Beal. They'd probably also have to give up Grayson Allen and probably something else. But if the Suns were able to do that, highly unlikely. I doubt the Warriors want to give up their dynasty, the face of their franchise.
But
the Suns would win 3 championships in a row. That would be an unstoppable. I heard
too, Klay Thomas wants the Quest to be traded.
Klay Thompson.
Whoever offered that table, Klay Thomas is going to be moving to the next team.
See, I feel like the Suns wouldn't really fit well with Klay Thompson.
Because the history between him and Booker,
Also, he plays the same position as Booker. They're both shooting guards.
So if they want Klay Thompson, they have to get rid of Booker.
Likely. No, they wouldn't have to get rid of Booker, but they would probably throw Thompson in with the package, and he would be a good bench player, but the Suns could not fit him a starting role. They just couldn't. Maybe to put him at, the small forward, but I just don't see that happening. But we'll see. He might make the starting 5, and it'd be... See, this is highly unlikely. I don't even know why we're wasting time on this, but... with Curry, Booker, and Thompson at the 3, and then Durant and Nurk at the 4 and 5, it would be quite a lineup. I think they would win 3 championships in a row, and then they would retire.
We have to see what happens if that trade deadline comes up, and see who actually could be traded.
Yeah. And last night, the Suns played the Pelicans.
Yes. Man, it's me or just Booker just cooking on that game.
Booker had 52 points, only 5 assists, but 52 points, KD put up 26, and Beal had 13. So, totaling about 90 points. Allen had 12 points, but he came in clutch at the end with those three-pointers. Suns have, a decent schedule coming up. And that's another thing. So they're going to be playing the Pacers tomorrow.
Oh, God, yes.
And after the Pacers, the Bulls. So not too bad in those two games, although the Pacers have been pretty good. Surprisingly good.
No, they just traded some players and draft picks for Toronto for their star.
Yeah, for Siakam.
Yeah.
However, on January 24th, the Suns are going to have a rematch with the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah, that could be a game right there.
I think that is the game.
I believe those. My opinion is, if that will be in Dallas, and if we have a rematch against them, let's hope that they can more score points over Jokic.
Yeah,
because who's gonna stop Jokic or even Kyrie?
Doncic.
Yeah, or Kyrie.
Yeah, I mean they are going to be a tough game, and I think I really look for how does a big three play in that game.
That I'm gonna
because if the Suns could go in there into Dallas and come out and look strong and have a victory, then they're really going to be something to be talking about. Because right now, as it stands, they're still slightly above 500, and they have 4 wins in a row, which is good.
So there's if they stay hot next to this first 2 games before they go to Dallas, I believe they can stay actually,
Yeah, Booker needs to continue
what he does,
what he's doing. Durant needs to just stay Durant.
And Beal needs
to stay out of foul trouble. The Pelicans really hunted him in that game, and he had 4 fouls, before you could even know it. And anytime you have one of your 3 best players in foul trouble, it's difficult to maintain that lead. But they did, and they beat the Pelicans significantly.
But I bet some of those fans are respecting how Suns played against the Pelicans. Because how many Pelicans been playing lately.
Yeah. Now the Super Bowl. So we have the Packers and 49ers coming on here pretty soon. We expect the 49ers to win that.
Yes. But
Chiefs and Bills, it's a toss-up. It can go either way.
But
I feel like either one of those teams will not have enough to beat Baltimore in the championship.
No.
And the same with the other side, Buccaneers and Lions. I think the Lions are going to firmly win this. I give a huge edge to the Buccaneers for what they did to Philadelphia.
Philly just
embarrassed them.
It's just bad.
And Philly is a fan base who really hated Jonathan Gannon, and they put everything against him, saying that that's the reason they lost the Super Bowl. That's the reason, blah, blah, blah. Now they're blaming Sirianni. Now they hate Sirianni. Now they want to get rid of Sirianni.
Now.
Because Gannon went into Philadelphia with Arizona.
They were down 6 to 20 some points in that half.
Yeah. A 3-win team went into Philadelphia and shut them up.
Murray was being Murray playing on that field.
Yeah, and the Philadelphia Eagles have shown that since their Super Bowl their Super Bowl run and loss, of course, all they really have been is a team who knows how to QB sneak. A really good team at QB sneaking.
That didn't help.
At running the wedge, doing the shove, and gaining a yard. But against the Buccaneers,
Baker.
There was no sneaking around against the Buccaneers. There was just domination. And Baker Mayfield was like Peyton Manning.
Yes, but I'm thinking after the season so far, so it depends how far they're gonna go through the playoffs. I'm thinking they're gonna resign Baker Mayfield as the starter of the quarterback for Tampa Bay for next season.
Yeah, and also the Packers. I think they're going to lose to the 49ers tonight. But to do what they did to Dallas...
Jordan Love, his first time in the playoffs, and just like shows up that this is what I do behind Rodgers. Rodgers, show me how you play ball. This is what I'm gonna follow, and this is what we do.
There was so many people happy to watch the Cowboys be embarrassed. I enjoyed it, but I don't hate the Cowboys. But I did enjoy it. It was
McCartney's
surprising.
staying as a head coach for next season. Because they thought because they thought Belichick could fit to Dallas, coming to Dallas. But McCartney's going to stay with Dallas next season.
I don't know about Belichick going to Dallas.
Well, that's what I've been hearing a lot. But
yeah, so with Belichick, he's had his second interview with Atlanta.
Yes.
I think Atlanta clearly wants him.
Big time.
I just don't know if Belichick wants Atlanta.
No. I
think he's got to go to the interview for respect, but I don't know if Belichick wants to be in Atlanta.
No, but heard Jim Harbaugh is having two choices to the Chargers or LA. Chargers and Atlanta. Right now, Atlanta has a second interview with Belichick, but if Belichick takes this job against Atlanta, I believe the edge on Chargers has more edge to that could hire Belichick. Jim Harbaugh for
Jim
head
Harbaugh.
honcho.
See, the thing was Jim Harbaugh just won the championship.
Well, yes, it's Michigan.
Michigan won the championship, but as these years come by, college football becomes more and more of a hassle. You have the NIL deals. Every player who's worth of anything has to make $2-3 million or more. And not only that, you have to deal with the portal. So any college player wants to go anywhere, they just basically go through a portal, and now they're there, and they get their money. It's more difficult as a coach to deal with. So Jim Harbaugh is likely drawn to the NFL for that reason. But the problem is, so Belichick and Harbaugh understand one thing, and it's that whoever they coach, they would like to have a quarterback. And if you coach the Chargers, although they struggle, and although they haven't shown that they're a very competent team,
but they
have Justin Herbert. And Justin Herbert, out of the teams who fired their coach, is one of the better choices to go to. And I think Belichick would not want to go to Atlanta for that same reason as Atlanta's having their quarterback issues. With Desmond Ridder and all that drama, Atlanta's not a safe bet for Belichick to make his mark and to become that coach that everyone expects him to be. Now, as Arizona, we have to look at Cliff Kingsbury.
Yeah, that's the big news there, people.
Cliff Kingsbury is interviewing with Chicago for offensive coordinator. Even whenever he was with Arizona, they called him the offensive guru. And there was no guru in those last year and a year and a half. It was just a horrible offense that did a lot of screenplays and put up pathetic numbers. Now, there's talk that Cliff Kingsbury is only being interviewed by Chicago because of his run with Caleb Williams. He worked with Caleb Williams, and of course the Bears have the first pick, which they're probably likely to take Caleb Williams. And so they interviewed Kingsbury because he knows Caleb Williams, and that might give him an edge. And so I don't know if he'll get hired, but if Kingsbury goes to the Bears and they get Caleb Williams, how good do you think the Bears will even be?
First off, I think they're going to stay with Justin Hurts. Okay.
Justin Fields?
I'm sorry, Justin Fields. And I believe they're going to start with him as a starter quarterback. If they were planning on to trade him, the quarterback, because they picked up Williams, who you But who needs that quarterback to be that star? Because if they were planning on picking him up in the draft, he'd be just a rookie. He doesn't know what the playbook is. He doesn't know, what's this and this. He would be first time in the NFL.
Yeah.
So I believe he'd be good backup. To be honest with you, for now, for a couple of years, till if something happens to Justin Fields.
Yeah. Whenever it comes to first picks in the draft, though, if he was the 20th or the 15th or the 30th pick in the first round, that makes sense. But as a first pick in a draft, you expect them to be instant starters.
Yes.
You expect him to take the ball. Now, how he'll perform, he'll have leadway. Just like Bryce Young did. You get a few weeks, 4 or 5 weeks, before people will start actually judging you. Okay, Bryce Young was judged the first week, so was C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud was judged before he even started because of his cognitive test that he did poorly on. People call it and say, he's an idiot, and he's going to play poorly.
Right.
But it takes time, and I guess we'll see how good Caleb Williams is. Now, he essentially denied even wanting to play for Arizona if they had the first round. Or the first pick.
So then it shows Arizona could just trade Murray and move up the draft to number 1.
Yeah, possibly.
But
or at least move up to 3 or 2.
To get at least a decent quarterback.
But they wouldn't give up.
But
Murray.
no.
They want to get Marvin Harrison most
Junior.
likely. Marvin Harrison Jr.
For a receiver.
Now they have the 4th pick in the draft.
And they have, I think, the 10th pick in the draft. Not the 10th.
No, it's going to be pretty late because of Houston. They get Houston's pick.
Yeah, whatever Houston's pick is, though, too, on top of that, because they trade.
Yeah.
Williams Jr. I believe they could, in the rest of the drafts, get their offense fixed, get their defense fixed. There's little holes to be fixed in their offense line.
Yeah.
And there's little holes.
So, Chicago has the first pick, and they expect him to take Caleb Williams. Washington with the 2nd pick, New England with the 3rd, and then there's Arizona. So we need to find a way, as Arizona, to be high enough in the draft to take Marvin Harrison Jr., but also not lose our other first-round pick or next year's first.
So if they were drafting that receiver, Ohio State, holes in defensive line too, that needs some big dudes who can run through them and get the quarterback sacks. Because I've been following the team for a while. I think it's just, to me, it's important. I'm just a fan. It's just hard to see the team just struggled.
Yeah.
Ever since Murray lost his ACL.
Yeah, but they've shown promise. Even though they've won four games, as an Arizona fan, you feel like this is the best 4-win season that's ever existed. Because you won 4 games, but you have a promising coach. You have a decent, promising quarterback, at least from where he was a year ago. And then you have good draft capital. You have the new general manager in Monty Austinfort. You have a bright future. And so, even though they only won 4 games, they beat Dallas, they beat Philly, they beat Pittsburgh, and then they beat, who's the other one? Was it anyways, Falcons. So you had some good wins. Every game, for the most part, except for the 49ers and a couple others, they stayed close. They only won by a few points. It wasn't just domination. And that's what's important.
So, what do you think Michael Bedwell right now?
I think...
Sorry, but
all things set aside, Michael Bidwell is not an owner who you expect to go out and spend money and acquire coaches, players, or whatever. He seems to be one who's cheap, as we put it. And we talk all kinds of trash about Michael Bidwell, but
because he's using his players. If the players want some food in the game, whatever, before the game starts, they have to pay
in the gym,
the gym, and all that kind of stuff. I think that's kind of crappy owner.
Yeah.
If I was planning on being a player, I'll play you, but it's just I'm not paying your shit. Okay, if I play you, you better pay me money. If not, I want to go to a different team to fucking just offer more money.
Yeah, it was even with Bidwell's father. It was said that Bidwell Sr. and his Cardinals organization, whenever Bidwell Sr. was the owner, it was said that the players would have to pay for their own socks.
That's sad.
And for the uniforms. That they would get their paycheck. Now, I don't know if this is true, but they would get their paycheck and it would say minus, whatever amount of money for the socks.
That's sad.
And for minor transactions.
I wouldn't go there. And if he wants to do that, take money on his own players for socks, I believe that's kind of stickless owner doesn't care about it. He just cares about his money in his pocket.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to spend money.
Yeah.
So now they dropped McCall because run games with Arizona, but he did all right. But he got traded to Arizona to Minnesota.
Yeah, Josh Dobbs, I give him credit. He's a player who goes into any organization, doesn't know the playbook, and he plays amazing. And then once he has time to settle in, to learn the playbook, and to relax, he cannot play to save his life. So anyways, let's go on to the Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks are going to be playing the Rockies on February 23rd.
Spring training.
Speaking of Philly, the Cardinals went into Philadelphia and shocked Philly. The Diamondbacks went into Philadelphia
and fucking beat Philly.
And beat the Phillies. I'm sorry, Philly. You're an aggressive
Right.
fan base. You boo your own teammates if they drop the ball. But Arizona has your number, it seems. But the Diamondbacks will be starting spring training. Very, very good team. Exceeded everyone's expectations. No one even believed they were going to make it past.
The fucking World Series.
No one even thought they were going to beat the Brewers.
But they just...
And no one thought they were going to beat the Dodgers. And no one thought they were going to beat the Phillies. And no one thought they were going to beat the Rangers. But they didn't, so it's not like it. They weren't wrong about that.
But they were coming in these games through the wild card. And they were hot through that wild card hole. Playoffs. And beat Philly and win that NLCS championship. And go to the World Series with this young, proved team.
Yeah, and from the Mariners, we got Eugenio Suarez. And he's a third baseman. I thought their signing of the closer, Sewald, was incredible. And I feel like every move the Diamondbacks make is a good move. I wish they got Ohtani, but... It is what it is.
We signed Zach for 1-year deal. They signed that third baseman 4-year deal.
Mm-hmm.
But I never heard nothing about received bullpen pitchers. So my opinion is I believe they're going to stay what they're going to stay at. Like one of the main back bullpen pitcher, Kinkle.
Yeah,
he's the awesome.
He's the main guy.
He's the main back bullpen.
The Gink is our best, bullpen pitcher. Sewald is our most trusting for closing.
But do we have
and
Sewald?
Castro is worse than Bumgarner.
Now, what are you expecting about not Kelly or
The second pitcher, Merrill Kelly.
no, the third.
Third pitcher? Is he third?
It'll be Zach Kelly, and that's the other one. I forgot his name.
Oh, Brandon Pfaadt.
Yes, him. He's a hell of a miracle.
Yeah.
Last year.
Well, what he did,
it's just amazing.
Yeah, what he did in the playoffs.
Just like
he has made himself from
star.
Yeah, he made himself a pitcher who's going to be trusted to go 80, even 90 pitches deep into games, and expected to be that ace mentality. The way that he went into the playoffs as someone who was expected to have an ERA of 10,
he changed that.
He lit it up, and I think that Brandon Pfaadt has earned himself
that spot.
A promising part in a five-man role. If not third, he will be up there for the whole season, I hope. And I hope he continues because he played amazing. And now it's a new season, and I expect the Diamondbacks to not be an 80-win team. I expect them to be, 90 or even 100.
No, they signed Junior for another 2 years. The purple hair dude.
Oh, Gurriel?
Yeah, Gurriel for a 2-year deal. So he's staying with the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, the Diamondbacks, it's important.
Pretty much, they're still with the whole team when they were in the World Series.
It's important to keep the farm
together.
But also try to raise some new things so that they can be another, World Series competitor. With the Dodgers getting Ohtani.
No, that's going to be a challenge this year to see if...
Yeah. But they still have a shot because Ohtani is going to be a DH this year because he's hurt. So he's only going to hit. So I believe that the Diamondbacks really need to get it going this year and maybe next year because otherwise their chances of winning a World Series are going to keep on going lower as these other teams get healthier and as their team.
So, my opinion, our catcher, he's a hell awesome year.
Moreno.
Man, yes, he's just... I think this year, I believe he can really shine it up. And I believe he can start making some.
And Gabriel Moreno came into this spot behind Carson Kelly.
Oh, yeah.
But he's shown that he is amazing. And even, I remember in the playoffs, I don't remember which team it was, but we hit 4 home runs in a row. Was it the Dodgers?
Yes. Back to back.
And the coolest thing with Moreno was
it's
he walked up to the plate and he hit a ball and it was like home run.
Gone.
But it was a foul. He walked back and then hit another home run. It's like it didn't even matter.
They were all
over. He was unfazed.
Because ever since I saw that game, they went all over to Kershaw. They had to pull Kershaw in that first inning.
They pulled him.
They can't watch it anymore.
They pulled him after 1/3 of an inning.
No,
they had to pull him out, and another pitcher came to get the other 2 outs. He couldn't even get 2 outs.
No. Then there's that rookie of the year, Corbin Carroll.
Yeah, Corbin Carroll.
He is just the fastest player on that team.
No. Yeah, we're going to wrap it up now, but there's plenty more to talk about Corbin Carroll.
We had to see what happened this year. Hopefully, their little team stays healthy. Yep. Like no injuries, nothing. Healthy.
Yeah. Go D-backs and go Suns.
Let's go.
Let's wish for the Cardinals.
Yeah. Get better off, this year.
Coyotes, they've been doing decent. I don't really pay much attention.
I don't even watch them, sorry to say.